What's up guys, my name's Alec and today we will be working on my BMW F10. We will be replacing the original small CIC head unit with a Linux head unit. For those of you who have already been following my videos, you'd know that I already did this once about a year ago where I changed it with an Android head unit, but I sold that head unit I think not even 2 months after putting it on because I hated it. And I will tell you more about why I didn't like it and what the difference is between a Android and a Linux head unit later when I review this Linux head unit.
So the first step is to pop off the trim that you have running along your dashboard, which has the center vent and the start button. Now be careful when you take it out. The start button cable is pretty short, so make sure you unplug it before pulling it out completely. I recommend you use trim tools, plastic trim tools.
Now, once you took that trim off, I wasn't able to pop out this cable because I didn't really have any lighting. Maybe I could now, but if you don't, you can just leave it hanging like this. Try not to ruin your seats. And yes, because the cable is held on here too, so it's not going to actually pull on the connector. Now the next step is to remove the head unit screen and the radio with the climate controls. Now to do this, you have just a couple of torque bolts. You have one here, and then for the screen you have, let me focus, one here and one here. For the screen, once you unbolt these bolts, it will just pop out. It still has two clips here, but you basically need to slide it down and it's going to come out really easily. And you'll have two connections on the back to remove. And then for the radio and climate control, once you take these two out, you just pull on it and then we'll have some cables which I'll show to you in a minute.
Now, take the screen out, once you got the bolt out, just kind of pull, and it kind of just falls towards you. There's nothing really special to it. Now, as you can see, we have two cables going in. The purple one, which if you have a purple, it means you have the CIC. The black one has two clips on the side. You push on them, and they come out. And then the purple one, it has a clip right here, on which you press, and then you kind of push out. Or you wiggle it out. Got the screen out, got the cables out, and now for the climate control, once you have the two bolts out, you just pull it towards yourself. It must unclip. Oh shit, maybe you should actually use. Now you still need to take out the radio and CD changer, as we will have to unplug the cables going into it so we can plug them into the new head unit. There's one screw on the right side, one screw on the left side. It's pretty straightforward, thankfully. First time I looked on how to disassemble how to take out the head unit and change it on the F10. I was actually a bit afraid, as it's all integrated. I thought it would be very complicated, that it will end up in broken clips, which I hope I did not hear, that I'm gonna have rattles afterwards, but it's actually not that bad. Now, once you undo the bolts, you just pull out the radio, and you see these cables here. You want to take them out, and you take them out by, on the top of the plug you have kind of like a bracket, and you push it out and they just come out. And that's it. Now you're ready to take your new head unit.
This is the unboxing of the Linux head unit. Pretty straightforward, nothing complicated. I will leave a link to it in the description if you're interested in getting it. However, I suggest you stay to the end of the video to see if you like it and to see if it actually works. I'm very curious. You have the big 10.25 inch screen here. Not going to take it out just now. I'm going to leave it still protected. And then you have the cables. I already unboxed this once when it came, just to check that everything is here. But I kind of put everything back to how it was. That's it. So, these are the USB cables which you can route into your glove box. I'm going to show you how to do it. I don't know if I'm going to do it myself. I did it for the Android one. It's okay. It's pretty tricky, but you'll manage it. These are the plugs that go into the radio we just took out. This goes into the head unit screen. And you see, these black connectors here. When the cables came, they were connected, and I looked into the instructions, and it said that for CIC they need to be unplugged, so I already unplugged them. These two connectors here. And then this is the aux cable. This is a noise reducer apparently, and they give you an aux cable which theoretically must go into the aux port from the glove box. On some cars it works without rerouting the aux cable. It just magically works, and you can hear the head unit through the aux setting without bringing that to the not the glove box, but the center console aux port. Sometimes it doesn't work. Last time on my Android head unit it worked without bringing anything into the center console. I hope it's the case this time. If not, then no problem. We're gonna route it nicely to the aux port. I hope I won't have to, but it's okay. Now let's go back into the car and I'm going to show you how to assemble everything back. So I decided I will actually route my USBs, and that would be the first thing to do, because basically for them to come out into the glove box, they will come out from here. You can just pry this off. Don't know if, oh yeah, I can do it with one hand. You have this hole now here. You then need to pry off this plastic cover here on the side. Don't worry, it will do nothing to your airbag. It's just a cover. Oops. Let's see if I can manage it with one hand. Once it's unclipped, unclip it from the bottom, and you then kind of just guide it through, and oops, don't pull too hard, as you have this airbag on off cable here. And now this is the hole we just unclipped from here. Then basically your USBs, you want to route them behind the dashboard for them to go right through there. You can see the lighting. And maybe it's easier said than done. Maybe you're lucky. But the way I suggest you start is, because these thick USB ports don't fit. Oh, they do actually fit. Well then, I'm going to attempt to route them and I'll tell you how I found it easier. Because I don't remember if first I put them through here and then I pushed them this way, or I go from there and push them through here. Okay, so definitely easier to route it from there to there. I'll show you in a second, but yeah, I remember having had a very hard time last time doing these. Just fixing these better. This is where the head unit screws in. So we have brought the USB cable here. I'll show you how it's on the other side. So you can see the USB cables are here. Now I can actually route them into the glove box. They even have text on them. One is for CarPlay and one is just for regular USB stick stuff like music, storage, whatever. Oops, sorry for covering the camera. So what I did is I took that white plug and I started routing it through here. Now it's going to get stuck in between stuff. So what I suggest with two hands, one hand go with it as deep as you can, and with the other hand from here you push it, and with the hand that's back there you kind of route it to go towards the head unit and not for it to fall in between anything. And once it's like halfway, a quarter of the way there, you then go into the car from the other side, and then you stick your hand in from that side and you pull on it. And that's it. Now there. In the glove box, as you can see, 1 and 2. And we can safely close this, clip it back together. We put the big cable here in the back, and then we just route the connector here, preferably in such a way to not affect your vents. So that would be towards any side, I guess. I'll just put them towards the right side. There seems to be slightly more space here. And then, well, we need to connect it back. Well, we have the USB now too for me to show you. Basically, you count how many pins there are, and then you look on the back of the head unit to see which one matches. For me, it's gonna be this one with slightly more pins. But first, I want to connect the big one back again, for which, as I showed you, I need to hold a bit of resistance with a screw, and then push it back in. And then for the USB, I hope I don't need to do the same thing, but it seems that I need. So you put a screw behind the purple thing to hold resistance, and then you plug it in. Forgot the most important part, the purple connector. Let's push that in. Click. And then there's this connector that's gonna stay. You won't have to plug it anywhere. It was the connector for the old screen that we don't need anymore. Now what I'm gonna do now is put the head unit screen in, and then worry about cable management. Push it in, stays here, looks pretty good. Now try to not have any cables go in front of your vents, because well, it blocks the air, but most importantly, you don't want having too much warm air, hot air, especially in the winter, blow on the cables. Alright, now I want to say that I'm gonna screw in the head unit, the screen, but the plugs are in the ashtray, which is below everything here. Now,
we have these cables that come from the head unit, from the screen I mean. There's one with the bracket like the one we undid from the radio, and then there's one with no brackets. The one with the bracket from the aftermarket head unit goes into the original radio, and then the one without brackets goes into the original one from the car with brackets. But something that we must do first is move the fiber optic cables. If you look into the original bracket, you have all the pins, and then you have 4 holes with 2 green cables plugged in that we must take out and then move them into the aftermarket one. Now, to take them out is fairly simple from what I remember. They're basically held on by some small clips that you won't be able to see on camera, definitely not, but you'll be able to see in real life. And with a small screwdriver, you want to push the clip in and take it out. But before we do that, we must remember the position they're in, because we must then put it in the same position in the aftermarket one. So if you put the aftermarket plug and the original one side by side, you'll see they resemble a lot. And just move the fiber optic cables in the same space. So we put, whoa, that just flew out, but the optic cables finally came out, and now we have to put them to the original one. So as you can see, it has multiple plugs. Do you have light? I'm sorry for the low lighting. There's multiple plugs. There's 4 plugs, and on the one which are right at the edge, we must plug them in. The one shining red is the one that must be on the top position, and then you just push it in, and it's just gonna click in. And this was the most complicated part of the whole process. Now it's pretty simple. So you take the original cable that comes from the car, and you plug it in into the no bracket one from the aftermarket. Just look at the pins and make sure they align correctly. Once you have the bracket closed, give it a pull, see that it's staying there correctly. Now back to the radio. Once we got the original harness connected to the aftermarket one, we now must connect it to the radio. You push it in, and then you lock it in with the bracket again. And that's kind of it for cabling. Now, I hope this is it. Now we must check if the aux actually works without pulling the aux cord or not. Before I do this, I want to quickly cable manage here again to make sure everything is nice and clean, and then we'll turn the head unit on and see if it works. Now, to turn the head unit on, we must connect back the start button. Let's check it out. Well, the screen is working, and it's already on. Now let's do the CarPlay and the sound test. Let's press Android Auto. Now it gives you instructions on how to connect. And it's on. Now let's see if we can listen to music. Great. So it seems to be working without connecting the aux cable for me, which is extremely good news. But I will, however, show you how we must connect the aux cable. And then I will also make you a review on the head unit. As you can see, now I'm in my original screen, but I'll show you all of this once I set everything back together.
Now, if the aux doesn't work like it did for me, there's a couple more steps you would have to do. First is to open the armrest, and with the clip remover, you remove this plastic trim by taking it from here, and then you'll have space to put your clip remover under this whole panel, which might be different for the automatic models. And once you remove this whole panel here, you basically have access from under the climate controls all the way to here. And then if you remove this plastic cover here, you will actually have a small hole similar to the one in the glove box where we put the USBs, and you'll be able to route your aux cable for it to go underneath all of this all the way to here, out of that hole and into the aux in. Now this is my old setup that I had, a Bluetooth module and the aux. Won't be the case anymore. So these are the extra steps you must take if your aux doesn't work like it did for me. And before you turn on your head unit, and just to see that the aux doesn't work, make sure that in your iDrive settings that you're set for the music to play from aux and not from CD or radio or Bluetooth. Another note I would like to give you guys is that if your car comes equipped with Bluetooth, mine doesn't, you will still be able to play Bluetooth music through Bluetooth and also take calls straight from the car's interface. So maybe you just want to have the Linux screen with the navigation on, but you want your music to be through the original Bluetooth system. You can do that, and that is an option also if your aux doesn't work like it worked for me. And if you don't want to go through the hassle of routing the aux cable, you can just use the Bluetooth from the car for music and calls, and use the head unit for navigation. And you will still be able from CarPlay to control your songs, to change them, skip them, and whatever. However, I don't think that you will be able to hear navigation directions and alerts that are displayed on the CarPlay through your speakers, because you will be playing through your speakers the Bluetooth music from your phone. So I put the head unit screws back in. Again, make sure that all your cables are tucked in away from the vents. And now we have to put the screws for the radio here and here, and then clips back the climate control unit and screw it here and here. So this is the head unit running. First thing I want to show you is how to go into the original menu of the car. So we have that sorted out. On the main screen you have original car. If you press on that, it brings you to the original screen of the car. And to go back, you just touch the screen and it goes back. And another method is to hold down on the menu button, and that's it. Now, the Linux. Now, I'm going to walk you through at the same time that I'm walking through it, so I haven't played with it until now. We have original car, we have dash, which shows you info, basically like a digital dash. Pretty cool. It's in Imperial units. We'll have to switch that up. CarPlay, Android Auto, we'll get to that later. Style, I guess. This is the background. I'll just keep it black. You can also set one via your USB ports. So if you want to put something custom with your car or whatever. Then EQ, I'll check on that. This is actually a reason why I hated the other unit is that it had its own EQ settings, and oh wow, I just changed my fan and it showed on the screen. Anyway, it had its own EQ settings, the Android unit, and each time I would shut the car off, not each time, almost each time, I would shut the car off and then start it on again, it would reset everything from the EQ. And when it would go back to flat basically, and when it was on flat, it would sound shit. And that means that each time I got into the car, I had to reset the EQ. And it did that, let's say, 9 times out of 10. So sometimes it would just save them, and sometimes it wouldn't. Now, I'll play with this. Then we have basically casting your screen options. Then if you press on music, I guess you're connected to the music of the device you're connected to. These are the settings, the Bluetooth settings. You can even import your contact list and dial, so basically just a quick, hands-free control. Video, I guess you would play videos from the USB sticks. And then settings, we have the brightness settings, the volume settings, the language settings, then the date settings. This is it in case you have a reverse or aftermarket camera. I don't. And then the system settings, and that's pretty much it. I wonder if I can change the units from Imperial to metric. Maybe if I put not US but something else, let's put German for example. No, still in miles. So if I ever figure that out, I'll tell you, but I don't mind that too much because I won't be using that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, what are the differences between a Android head unit, a Linux Android head unit and a Linux head unit? The differences are the following. The Linux head unit is much more restricted. So it doesn't have Google Play, it doesn't have App Store, like you can't download other apps. The only apps that are on it are the ones that I showed you now, and that's it. You can't do anything else on it. Compared to the Android head unit, where it's basically like a built-in tablet, and you have Google Play Store and you can download Waze, Maps, Netflix, YouTube, and whatever. There is, however, an option where you can get the Linux one with the YouTube app. I didn't want to, but you could do that. The advantages of Linux is that it loads up way faster than an Android because it doesn't have as much stuff to load up. As you saw when I was testing it, it will load up instantly. It's way cheaper because it's simpler. I paid for this unit 120 euros, whereas a good Android head unit would go north of, let's say, 230, 240 euros. And as I told you, I had an Android head unit. It was one of the cheaper ones, but I just didn't like my experience with it. I hope I liked my experience with this one. And basically, if you just want to have CarPlay or Android Auto and you don't care about the rest, then you should go for Linux, because I don't care about anything that I showed you from here. All I care about is going into my Android Auto or CarPlay in your case and use it from here. That's all I want. And I will use this for a week, and I will, well, you'll see right now in a couple seconds my review after a week with it. So I've been using it for over a month since I installed it, and I have absolutely no complaints. The video is already long, so I don't want to make it any longer. I'm happy with the sound quality, and the music settings do not reset like they did on the Android head unit. I'm happy with the way it connects to the phone. It connects very quickly, so from the moment I start the car up until Android Auto automatically starts without me having to press anything is about 10 seconds. So
It's instant almost. Screen quality is good. It hasn't lagged on me and it hasn't froze on me. I always use it in split screen, so YouTube Music with Waze, and it's been great. I honestly fully recommend it, especially for the price, which is at least half the price of an Android unit, if not even less. So you'll have a link to it in the description. One thing I am slightly frustrated with is the fact that hands-free from my phone does not automatically connect to it. So hands-free works fine once the phone is connected. The mic quality is good. I received no complaints. I use it often. The only thing is that each time I get into the car, like I did just now, if now I get a call and it shows up on the screen and I accept it, it actually is on my phone, and I have to manually on my phone select the unit from the Bluetooth devices and send the call to it. My phone, which is an S25 Ultra, never remembers it as a calling device, so it just treats it as like a speaker, like a headphone, and I have to select calls every time. That's a bit frustrating, but once I do that for the first call, then it gets memorized for the rest of the drive. But then each time I start driving again, so I turn the head unit off and then on again, I need to reroute my calls again, the first call I get. Other than that, I'm very, very happy with it. And if you guys have any questions, anything that was not clear, or any other questions about the head unit, please do not hesitate to comment. I will try to answer all of them. And until next time.